Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning from sunny Baltimore, Maryland, on the east coast of the United States of America. My name is Sharon Schultz, and I am known as the Bay Lady on the virtual tour circuit. I am a former Hago guide doing the virtual thing during the pandemic. And currently, I am a tour guide in the Baltimore area. So this is my own little network I've got going here, the Bay Lady. And today we're going to do a little Beatles trivia. I've been doing Beatles trivia for a while and seems to be pretty popular. We will find out. My tours are listed on Facebook and YouTube and a couple of other venues as well. You can find links to them on my Facebook page and on my YouTube channel. Also, tips, gratuities are accepted at a place called Buy Me a Coffee. You can find the link to that on my pages as well. Today, I want to start off with give a listen to Paul McCartney's new song. I like it. He's got a new album coming out, The Boys of Dungeon Lane. It is due to be released May 29th. Here in the States, that should be around Memorial Day weekend, the beginning of the summer months anyway. So what a great time to get some new music just in time for the summer vacation travels and such. So let me get that song for you. Hang on. Alexa, please play Paul McCartney's new song.
Here's Days We Left Behind by Paul McCartney on Amazon Music.
Looking back at white and black reminders of my past. Smoky bars and cheap guitars, but nothing built to last. Nothing ever stays. Nothing comes to mind. No one can erase the days we left behind. See the boys of Dungeon Lane along the messy shore. Some of them will feel the pain, but some were meant for more. And nothing stays the same. No one needs to cry. Nothing can replace the days we left behind. We met at Forth and Road, and wrote a secret code to never be spoken. I stand by what I said, the promise that I made will never be broken. Nothing ever stays. Nothing comes to mind. No one can erase the days we left behind. In the skies, the skylark rise above the sounds of war. Since that day, I knew they'd stay with forevermore. 'Cause nothing stays the same, and no one needs to cry, and no one is to blame for the days we left behind, the days we left behind.
Alexa, stop. All right, so that was Paul's newest song, the single, The Days We Left Behind, from the new album, The Boys of Dungeon Lane, which is due to be released on May 29th. So, Paul's been doing a lot of things lately. I just wanted to talk about for a moment. He's got a new Wings album out. This is the little baby here. It's a double discer. Okay. Two CDs, and it's got a nice little booklet or two. You know what? I haven't even looked at this. Maybe I should. Hold on. Because I'm seeing a booklet, and I said or two because there's something else in here. I'm guessing it's a poster. Wow. I love that some people still put posters and cool things in their albums. How nice. It's Wings. It's a very cool Wings poster, yes. You like it? Get that. Thank you, Sir Paul, for thinking of that. Nice. So this Wings album has the, I think, a good selection of songs for sure. He's got some that are very familiar and some not so much, which is great. Let's see. The first disc has Band on the Run, Hi, 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 Silly Love Songs, Letting Go, 1985, Live and Let Die, Mammonia, Junior's Farm, Helen Wheels, Some People Never Know, Let 'Em In, Get On the Right Thing, Jet, My Love, and Call Me Back Again. And then the second disc has Getting Closer, Listen to What the Man Said, I've Had Enough, Love is Strange, London Town, Arrow Through Me, Venus and Mars Rock Show, She's My Baby, Bluebird, Deliver Your Children, Let Me Roll It, Mull of Kintyre, Wildlife, Sea Moon, With a Little Luck, Solely, and Good Night Tonight. So this is, as I said, new. This was just released earlier this year. And it all goes with the new movie that he released. Actually, that also came out with a book. It is called Paul McCartney Wings, The Story of a Band on the Run. That cover has a note from Paul that says, we're all just these human beings wanting love. And I always hoped that Wings would reflect that kind of love. I was very proud that it did. Paul McCartney. So here is a novel to read, a lengthy book. Let's see. You want to see how it starts off? Let's see. It's got a foreword here. Let's see who it's written by. Oh, it's kind of long. Hello, where's the end of the foreword? Oh my. Oh, Paul. Paul wrote the foreword. Okay, he wrote quite a bit in here about this book. Maybe we'll read this later on as to what his intentions are. Okay. Meanwhile, it's probably, I don't know, maybe time to play a little round of Beatles Significa. Anybody? Anybody ready? Oh, it's the Beatles? Let's see. Do I have any comments up here? Yes, see. Let's see. I do. Oh, my goodness. Let's see what we got going on. I'm not quite sure. Okay, well, I'm not sure on YouTube, but hello. Hello, hello. Okay, so, ta 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 ta. I will select a card. Okay, so this little tour here, this Beatles trivia little gig going on here, is all centered around this card game called Beatles Significa. This is a card game that came out in the 1980s, and I've had it all that time. Okay, so anyway, let's get on with a couple of Beatles trivia questions, shall we? All right, I just selected a random card here. All right, and I will read it. It says, question number one. Trying to see. For some reason, my glasses are a little foggy. Maybe my brain's a little foggy. It's noon now. I've been up for a few hours. Shouldn't be too foggy, right? Correct. All right, here we go. Complete John's rhyme from the Let It Be movie. Isadora Duncan worked at. Okay, so this is the Let It Be movie. Okay, and John was speaking, and he was saying Isadora Duncan worked at. What's the answer? Does anybody know? Isadora Duncan worked at John's rhyme from the Let It Be movie. Isadora Duncan worked at. Anybody? Shall I look? Isadora Duncan worked at Telefunken. Okay, that rhymes, but not quite what we're looking. Oh, actually, my goodness, Telefunken. You are absolutely correct. Isadora Duncan worked at Telefunken. Hey, somebody actually answered. Good job. All right, next question. In what song does John sing, I pray and pray more each day? In what song does John sing, I pray and pray more each day? Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, it's on the tip of my tongue. Pray and pray more each day. I know what it is. I know. In what song does John sing, I pray and pray more each day? Anyone? Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. I'm going to guess and say Mr. Moonlight, right? Because I believe this is a song. It goes, I pray and pray more each day because we love you, Mr. Moonlight. All right, let's find out. Ha! Mr. Moonlight is the correct answer. Mr. Moonlight. All right, we got it. Okay, next question. George Martin, at the Beatles' first recording session, said, if there's anything you don't like, tell me. George Harrison said, well, for a start, I don't like your. Okay, all right, let me read that again. George Martin was at the Beatles' first recording session. And he said to the Beatles, if there's anything you don't like, let me know. So George Harrison pipes up and says, well, for a start, I don't like your. What did he say? Well, for a start, I don't like your. What? Tick-a-tock, tick-a-tock. Shall we find out? Well, for a start, I don't like your tie. George said tie. I don't like your tie. Well, that was pretty Beatles-ish. Okay, next question. Okay, the organ-like keyboard instrument with metal reeds heard, for example, on the word, and we can work it out, is called what? These questions are arranged weirdly. Okay, so here it says the organ-like instrument that the organ-like instrument with metal reeds that was used on the word, and we can work it out, is called what? What is the name of the instrument that was used on we can work it out and on the word that looks like an organ and has tall reeds? It's probably something really simple, right? Harmonium. Let's find out. Oh my gosh, you're good. Harmonium it is. Woohoo. There's another correct answer there. Harmonium. Isn't that a song too? Something. Harmonium. Da, 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 da. Anyway, forget that. Dum, 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 dum. All right. In the Magic Christian movie, Ringo orders what at an elegant restaurant? So, Magic Christian movie, bus trip, remember? Okay. So, oh, was that Magical Mystery Tour? Never mind, never mind. Magic Christian movie, okay. Ringo is in an elegant restaurant. What does he order? Must be something not elegant, otherwise they wouldn't have mentioned elegant, right? Okay, so in Magic Christian movie, Ringo orders what in an elegant restaurant? Well, Ringo orders Rice Krispies. Rice Krispies. I didn't know the Beatles like Rice Krispies. You know, they're like jelly beans. They used to get thrown at them. Okay, Rice Krispies. That was good though. The beans. They did. They used to. I think John. It was John that said they liked jelly beans. And after that, that was when they were in the beginning when they were touring. And after that, they got like pelted, like bombarded, like hurt with jelly beans. Thousands of jelly beans getting thrown at them as they're trying to sing. Okay, sounds like not so much fun. Okay, next. Which song fades out with a repetition of "You gotta wait a minute"? Oh God. You gotta wait a minute, wait a minute. Oh yeah, I already know this. Okay, what song fades out with a repetition of "You gotta wait a minute, wait a minute. Oh yeah, wait a minute, wait a minute. Oh yeah, Mr. Postman." Oh yeah, baked beans. They did love that too. Absolutely. Yeah, Mr. Postman, that was pretty easy, right? I should look and make sure, but that's what it is, right? Right. Please, Mr. Postman. Mr. Postman, wait and look and see. Mr. Postman, look and see. Is there a letter for me? Okay. In the Let It Be movie, who is shown helping Ringo work out his new song, Octopus's Garden? In the Let It Be movie, who is shown helping Ringo work out his new song, Octopus's Garden? Anybody? Octopus's Garden. He was helping Ringo go through the music, work it out. Who was doing that? Any guesses? George. Let's see if that is correct. Ta-da! George Harrison. That answer is correct. All right. All right. Next question. What song on the Capitol Rubber Soul album has 2 acoustic guitar false starts? Well, this is an interesting question. What song on the Capitol Rubber Soul album has 2 acoustic guitar false starts? I am clueless. I have no idea. I am clueless as to the answer. I mean, I know what an acoustic guitar, what a false start is. I just can't associate the, oh, I've just seen a face, yeah? All right, let's look and see. Oh, yeah, I'm looking through you, right? I've just seen a face, I can't forget the time. But cool, that was a very good answer. Yes, indeed. Before we go into more trivia, I want to break things up a little bit here. I have all these trivia Beatles books too. And this is one of the ones that I use from time to time. It's supposedly the ultimate resource guide. 100 things Beatles fans should know and do before they die. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, why I'm bringing this up is there's just a short article in here. It's called "Why Are There So Many U.S. Records?" Now, I've been playing this Beatles Significa game for a few years, including a few years here online, also, and it some of the questions pertain to the British album releases, and some of the questions pertain to the US album releases, and they don't always specify in the question. Now, the problem is that for some reason, they thought that the U.S. market was had enough differences from the European market that they made the albums different specifically to the market. So what happened is that, like, some of the album covers were different, like Meet the Beatles, the album cover that was released here by Capitol, might have been a different album cover from the one that was released in the UK. Same with the songs and the order that they appear on the album. Some songs didn't have all of the same songs that the one across the pond had. So they kind of went back and forth. So this article I wanted to read, it is "Why Are There So Many U.S. Records?" So apparently there's more. They even released more here than they did in the UK, which is kind of surprising. So why are there so many U.S. records? With both "I Want to Hold Your Hand" and "Meet the Beatles" setting sales records, 1964 in particular saw innumerable Beatle records flooding the U.S. market. 20 singles and 15 albums, in contrast to the 4 singles and 3 albums that were released in the UK. That's quite a difference. The U.S. records were released on a variety of different labels, including not only Capitol, VJ, and Swan, but also United Artists, which did the Hard Day's Night soundtrack, and MGM and Arco. both of whom released records of the Beatles' backing guitarist Tony Sheridan, as recorded in 1961 and 62 over in Germany. The core Beatles catalog also differed between the UK and the US. In the UK, there were 12 main albums on Parlophone. Please Please Me, with the Beatles, A Hard Day's Night, Beatles for Sale, Help, Rubber Soul, Revolver, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, The Beatles, Yellow Submarine, Abbey Road, and Let It Be. In the US, there were 18 main albums on Capitol Records. Meet the Beatles' second album, A Hard Day's Night, Something New, Beatles 65, The Early Beatles, Beatles 6, Help, Rubber Soul, Yesterday and Today, Revolver, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Magical Mystery Tour, The Beatles, Yellow Submarine, Abbey Road, Hey Jude, and Let It Be. Why the difference when the albums featured most of the same songs? For one thing, Beatle albums in the US had fewer songs on them, in part because of the way the royalties were calculated. Just 12, in contrast to the 14 songs on the UK albums. And while US singles always appeared on US albums, such was not the case in the UK, where there were 31 songs that only appeared as singles or extended plays, which was a 7-inch record with 4 songs, and not on the main albums. US A Hard Day's Night and Help albums also included instrumental tracks that were drawn from the film scores that didn't appear on their UK counterparts. The Beatles weren't happy about having their albums broken up, since they put a great deal of time in preparing the running order of their UK albums. The early US releases also sounded different. Capitol's Dave Dexter adding echo to various tracks. And while the cover of Meet the Beatles used the same artwork as the UK album with the Beatles, most of the US albums had different cover art. US and UK albums finally began matching up, starting with the cover of Rubber Soul. But it wasn't until the release of Sgt. Pepper that the Beatles had sufficient creative control to insist the US and UK albums feature exactly the same tracks. When the Beatles albums were first released on CD in 1987, it was decided that the UK albums would become the standard catalog, with one exception. In the UK, the soundtrack for the Magical Mystery Tour album had been released in a 2 extended play set, complete with a booklet telling the film's story. In the US, the EP format was no longer in use. So these songs were put on an album rounded out by the other singles the Beatles had released that year. Penny Lane, Strawberry Fields, All You Need Is Love, Baby You're a Rich Man, Hello Goodbye, I Am the Walrus. There were also 2 new albums created, Past Masters Volume 1 and Past Masters Volume 2, which contained all the songs that had not appeared on a UK album. When the Beatles catalog was reissued on CD in 2009, The two volumes were combined in one set, simply called Past Matters. Unlike fans in other countries where different variations of Beatle albums also appeared, American fans remain particularly, some might say peculiarly, nostalgic for the Beatles' American albums. 8 of them eventually released on CD in the box sets, the Capitol Albums Volume 1 and 2, which were released in 2004 and 2006, respectively. Volume 1 featured Meet the Beatles' second album, Something New, and Beatles 65. Volume 2 contained the early Beatles 6, Help, and Rubber Soul, with all tracks presented in mono and stereo mixes. Volume 1 reached number 35 in the US charts, while Volume 2 peaked just outside top 40 at number 46. So that was kind of interesting, yes. Okay. How about another little round of Beatles trivia? Let us select another card. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to read. All right. Okay. Question. What generally happened when the Beatles played Holly Gully in Liverpool ballrooms? Okay, what generally happened when the Beatles played Holly Gully in Liverpool ballrooms? What happened when they played Holly Gully? I don't know. Did people dance? They sang along? What happened? We'll find out. What happened was, oh my goodness, fights broke out. That's not fun. What happened to dancing? I liked my answer better. Fights broke out when the Beatles played Hully Gully. I don't know what Hully Gully is. I guess that must be the problem. I'm thinking of Wooly Bully by what was it? I forget. Anyway, never mind. Next question. What a bluesy Carl Perkins number was popular with Liverpool drummers? Both Pete Best and Ringo sang it with the Beatles. So what bluesy Carl Perkins number was popular among the Liverpool drummers? Anybody? Matchbox. It was called Matchbox. All right, next. Paul wrote a song for Pete Best to sing called The Pinwheel Blank. Paul took over drums while Pete did his chubby checker routine. Okay, so Paul wrote a song for Pete Best that was called The Pinwheel Blank. Okay. And it took over the drums, and he took over the drums with his chubby checker routine. Not quite sure. Let's see. Better go right to twist. The twist. Oh God, that's right. Didn't Chubby Checker invent the twist? Come on, baby. Let's do the twist. Honey, don't. I like that song. The twist is the answer. All right, next question. Fill in the song title I hear that love is planned. How can I understand when someone says it to me? Fill in the song title. What about the blank? Fill in the song title. Okay. And this is the line in the song. I hear that love is planned. How can I understand when someone says it to me? And the song title is I Don't Want to See You Again. That's the song title. I Don't Want to See You Again. Okay, next question. Who did some of the filming for Magical Mystery Tour and was credited as the director of photography? Who did some of the filming for Magical Mystery Tour and was credited as being the director of photography? Who could have done that? Ringo, maybe? Ringo have a camera? John had a camera, but I don't think he would be as serious about it. Let's find out who was the director of photography. Ringo, I was right. It says Richard Starkey, MBE. Richard Starkey, member of the British Empire. Okay, next question. Who originally wrote and recorded When I Get Home? Who originally wrote and recorded When I Get Home? I don't recall a song called When I Get Home. I recall lines and songs about when I get home. But other than that, no solos. So, who originally wrote and recorded When I Get Home? I'm going to say John. Lennon and McCartney. Both of them. Lennon and McCartney recorded it. Okay, maybe that was just too obvious. Okay, on March 24th, 1962. March 24th, 1962. At Barronstown Women's Institute. What was different about the Beatles show? Oh my gosh. On March 24th, 1962, at Barronstown Women's Institute, what was different about the Beatles show? Oh my goodness. They wore suits for the first time. That's funny. Which song was Lennon and McCartney? It's When I Get Home. When I Get Home was recorded by Lennon and McCartney, written and recorded by Lennon and McCartney. Okay, last question here. Identify the song Baby, Now You're Moving Way Too Fast. Identify the song Baby, Now You're Moving Way Too Fast. What song does that line come from? Baby, now you're moving way too fast. So the line sounds familiar. I can't recall the name of the song, of course. But I'll venture to say it's one of the earlier Beatles songs. You're moving way too fast. It's got to be one of the earlier rock and roll songs, yeah? Baby, now you're moving way too fast. Okay, let's see. Slow down. It's from the song Slow Down. Slow down, baby. That was so easy. It would have punched me in the nose had I caught it, but it did not. Okay, well. Anywho, all right, well, my friends, one more little thing. I'm gonna put these little trivia cards away. So you can play trivia games, and we can trade trivia as well. Another little article, a shorter one than the last, that I wanted to read to you about the Beatles songs, where I was reading about why there were so many U.S. records versus British records. And see, I learned something today too, that English album has 14 songs and an American album has 12. So that would definitely cause some differences. Okay, this is from the book 100 Things That Beatles fans should know and do before they die. This is the documentary album. The Beatles story was one of the oldest Beatle records ever released during the 60s. It had no involvement from the Beatles, though two of the Beach Boys songwriters, Roger Christian and Gary Usher, worked on the project as producers, writers, and in Christian's case, one of the album's narrators. The album cover described the two LP set as a narrative and musical biography of Beatlemania. A narrative and musical biography of Beatlemania. Over the four sides, the Beatles story is related via song excerpts, sound bites from press conferences, into instrumental versions of Beatles songs, and Hokey Marathon. Prose like Lady Luck would be Beatle number 5, and with the brilliant guiding hand of young Brian Epstein as their manager, the Beatles would soon lift off the Liverpool launch pad with enough force to put the entire music world into orbit. It makes the writing for the fan book, The True Story of the Beatles, seem like the height of sophistication in comparison. Each Beatle is described in turn. George is an interesting combination of beat and blasé, but takes his music seriously. James Paul McCartney, the baby-faced Beatle, an extremely handsome fellow. And the record was also the first to feature a live Beatles song, an excerpt of Twist and Shout from the 1964 Hollywood Bowl show. The Beatles story was released on November 23rd, 1964, and made it to number 7, but sold the least of any Capitol Beatles albums in the 60s. It has never been released on CD. So there you have it, my friends. That is the end of our Beatles Significa session today. I will get another date, another Wednesday coming up, posted on the books. You can find it on YouTube or Facebook and a variety of places. But if you find my pages, Sharon Schultz, the Bay Lady, you have everything you need. So until then, take care. And don't forget, I love coffee. Please buy me a coffee. Thanks. Bye.